you really do have this sense that there's this vast swath in the general population, kind of the mainstream middle class type people, who equate conformity with received wisdom, accepted truths, official narratives. They equate that with being enlightened, with being clever, with being really well informed, right? So they mistake the fact that they know the official narrative for knowing something true about whatever the issue is. And you wind up seeing these patterns. Different people, even in different countries, if on the same subjects, they'll be saying the exact same lines, the exact same phrases and words. They'll respond to questioning in the exact same way. They'll, you know, default to the same slogans and cliches. And, it's, I mean, everybody now has seen the conspiracy theory one.
They call this the conspiracy theory. They just love this word. They mean it. Conspiracy theorists. When are you going to stop saying that? What does that mean? I don't know. So why are you doing this? Because that's all I know what to say.
That sort of conformist class in the middle of the population, a big bulk of people in the middle mainstream there, they've obviously been convinced that invoking this phrase, conspiracy theory, magically invalidates perspectives they don't like and makes them appear clever and correct without them having to demonstrate they know anything at all. You just have to say conspiracy theory and I'm done. I've proven that you're wrong and I'm right, and I know I'm really well informed. Right? And that's applied to anybody any questioning of that official narrative or any aspect of the official narrative. If you point out obvious times where the media has misrepresented something, and you say this is why that's being misrepresented, if you point out that you're not mentioning ever in any of your media reports that always emphasize cases. I've never once seen them define the term cases.
Alex Boutillier, I think is how you pronounce it. He is a political reporter for the Toronto Star, which is Canada's largest newspaper. He posted an article under the heading, Justin Trudeau warns against easing restrictions amid surge of new COVID-19 cases. I said to him, just once define cases. Do your job for a change. He responded, people who have COVID-19. And I responded to him, thanks for that, Alex. You've just proven that the people in the media reporting on this issue and pushing the narrative are totally uninformed and ignorant about it. You have zero credibility. Case closed.
And so if you point that out and you point out what cases is being used to mean, which isn't what it's supposed to mean.
What I was noticing on the media is that they were saying cases, 5,000 new cases in Houston. Okay, a case is a person healthy that tested positive, the vast majority. But the public hears cases and thinks, oh my goodness, these are sick people. No.
But if you point out that what they mean by that is a positive PCR test, for a test that comes back positive for fragments of a virus, and that doesn't tell you if that person is sick, it doesn't tell you if they're going to be sick, and it doesn't even tell you if they're infectious.
The most panic-inducing principle, namely that most media still speak about today we had so and so many new infections, which is totally, it's not true. A virus, it's a particle, it goes to everybody. So if somebody is immune, the virus also goes into this body, and it will multiply even a little bit. But if you're immune, you attack the virus first with antibodies, and you make immediately debris. The virus is destroyed. You have only parts of the virus around in your tissue. if you make a swab, or in your blood, if you go and test you will find this debris, and part of the debris will be nucleic acids, RNA. And if you make a PCR, all these people will be positive because the PCR picks up two tiny, or if it's a good assay, three, sometimes two, sometimes only one tiny little piece of RNA that is then amplified. And this assay cannot tell you whether you had the virus or you just had some dead chunk of the virus, which still gives you a positive result. So corona positive with a PCR, it tells you only a little tiny bit of DNA, of RNA, nucleic acid was there, but it doesn't tell you whether it was the virus complete or even a virulent, meaning a virus that can really make you sick. All this is not in this test. This test only says little piece was there, and that no other virus ever on this planet has been accompanied by so much testing, and a testing that has created so much nonsense and panic.
So that's what we're being told, having reported to us as cases. And I know from interactions I've seen with people that lots of people out there, maybe the majority of people, think cases mean sick people in hospital, which is what you would assume because that's basically what cases is supposed to mean. But they've changed the usage of that term to mean positive tests for the presence of the virus, not someone suffering from the disease associated with that virus called COVID-19. So again, this is one of these patterns. If you point any of this out, if you even bring it up, people just respond by saying conspiracy theory. Why are you saying these conspiracy theories? And you're trying to tell them, like, what are you talking about? That's just the facts. That's just information. And then they don't know what to do other than keep calling you a conspiracy theorist. It's like I'll show, peer-reviewed studies with the quote from the study and the link, whether it's on the effectiveness of masks to stop the spread of viruses, like very contemporary recent studies like the Danish study. You show that. You show the John Ioannidis recent study, the doctor from Stanford, and his study that confirmed that the fatality rate for COVID-19 is about the same as you get from a bad influenza season. Generally, that's overall, but if you're under the age of 70, it is far, far less deadly than even an average flu.
The world's foremost epidemiologist, Professor John Ioannidis of Stanford, actually published a paper that was back 3 weeks ago. And this paper is peer-reviewed. It means that it's been seen by 3 to 4 experts, leading experts in the field. And the WHO put this paper on its bulletin, which means the WHO accepts that this is the correct data. All right? And you go and read that paper, because John Ioannidis said what we said months ago, that this virus is no more deadly than a seasonal flu. And for people under 70, it is even less deadly than the seasonal flu. If you are under 70, your chances of dying with or because of this virus are less than 0.1%. All right. In fact, they are about 0.05%. This means that 5 out of 10,000 infected people may die because of the virus. 5 out of 10,000. This is so little that there's no reason to do anything. Not only the lockdown is nonsense, everything else is nonsense. Everything.
Social media and your fucked up conspiracy websites are not official channels to get information out. Explain how the European Journal of Clinical Investigation, a biomedical journal of peer review established in 1970, and how the monthly public health journal, the Bulletin of the World Health Organization, are fucked up conspiracy websites.
This is the thing that's striking about it. They've never heard this before. They've never seen it. They're completely oblivious to it. But you'll show it, and their reaction immediately will be, that's not true.
So, anti-maskers, how's your life now? This is your fault. Lynn, you really don't know what you're talking about. You need to stop believing everything you're told and start thinking critically and for yourself. Landmark Danish study finds no significant effect for face mask wearers. Dr. Carl Hennigan and Dr. Tom Jefferson from the Center for Evidence-Based Medicine, Oxford. No, you don't know WTF you're talking about, except spread misinformation, so bye. Don't be childish. This isn't misinformation. It's a study based on a randomized control trial with 6,000 participants that is being reviewed by the director of the Center for Evidence-Based Medicine at Oxford University. It's just a coincidence you're a media news company then? You seem to mock this pandemic, losing jobs, death, etc., yet you're nothing more than what freelance conspiracy theorists spreading BS. Lynn, nothing you just wrote addresses the points I raised, or makes any sense for that matter. And I've never mocked the pandemic, quite the contrary. You have to actually think for a second, okay? It's a published scientific study. It's being reviewed in the article by world-class experts from the Center for Evidence-Based Medicine at Oxford University in England. That's not a conspiracy theory. You have to think.
Right? It's not even, well, let me look into that and figure out if I agree with it or not, if it seems valid or not. It's like, nope, that's wrong, and my random guy perception of it is true. And then they'll accuse you of not caring about science.
Global infection fatality rate overall is 0.15 to 0.20%. For those under 70, it's 0.03 to 0.04%. Infection fatality rate of seasonal influenza is about 0.1%. That's from the recent study by John Ioannidis from Stanford University. Angelina responds, another satire article. It's amazing to see someone characterize peer-reviewed, WHO-endorsed science as satire. It shows you the degree to which the group-thinking class will deny science in order to protect their beliefs from reality.
So these are the patterns that you're seeing over and over again, over and over again. And when people repeat the same kind of patterns of thinking down to the same words and phrases and slogans and using the exact same kind of fallacious rebuttals and stuff like that, when people are all thinking the same, that's when you know nobody's thinking at all.